Hi everyone, Josh from Tough Call here, and this video is going to run through the type of contact you'd see a lot more of in the hockey league my system would develop. And there's two phrases I'd like to focus on today: timing a check well and being committed to the hit. And to me, if you're doing it right, timing doesn't matter nearly as much as you think it does. Timing only matters when you're doing something to create contact, something like exploding up and out or jumping into contact or even just extending out with your arm or shoulder. Timing matters in those cases because once you take one of those actions to initiate the contact, it becomes a now or never situation. Once you launch or extend or explode, contact has to happen the moment you arrive at the spot you committed to. And if the opponent moves or shifts, you've missed your chance, or worse, you hit them in a part of the body you had no intention of hitting, but you couldn't stop yourself anymore once things went wrong. The result is now completely hinged on what happens at a very specific moment in time. But if you don't commit, if you don't launch or explode or lunge or reach out, you don't have to worry about timing because contact can happen at any moment at all during the checking process and the result will always be the same. And here's 3 examples of what I mean. First, a thunderous Tom Wilson check, and it looks like absolute chaos, but it's actually pretty perfect. He's got stick on puck, and he glides into contact in such a way that it could literally happen at any time and it wouldn't matter. The moment of impact could have been several feet forward or backward of that spot, and the result would have been the same. He glided in a consistent, controlled posture until the puck carrier basically ran into him. And you see how the puck carrier pulls his head back out of the way just before contact? See how he leans way back? Imagine if Wilson had exploded up expecting to hit the chest even a fraction of a second earlier. He would have missed, he would have kept on going up, and in that case, chances are his shoulder would have kept on going right into the head. But Wilson simply glides along on a consistent horizontal path, and contact is safely delivered to the core, with Wilson's upward motion coming as a result of a high-speed impact, as opposed to anything he did prior to contact. See how his posture never changes? It's straight up and down. He doesn't lean forward until after contact. Then he goes up. Nothing there. Now let's move to this Brendan Dillon check. Now you could argue whether it's late or not, but for the purposes of this video, let's ignore the puck and focus on technique. All Dillon does is glide on a path of travel that intersects with the opponent's path of travel. Because he stays low and in full control, it makes virtually no difference at what point on either path the contact happens. It's very similar to the recent Taylor Hall check on McKinnon, which I did a video for. There's no sudden shift at all. No matter what Foligno does, he could hit him at any time and it wouldn't matter. Watch his angle of approach. He actually turns up the ice slightly beside Foligno and bumps shoulder to shoulder. There's no way he's going through the head there. Perfectly controlled. And lastly, this Moritz Seider check is probably the best example of them all. Again, very low, controlled glide. Contact could have happened at any point along the way with no problem. He didn't have to time anything. He just put himself into a path and let the opponent run into him. The important part is look how low he is through the entire process. And look how vulnerable his opponent is. His head is leaning the way and it's not up overly high. If Seider had exploded upward even at all, the head was taking the full impact. But he doesn't. He stays low. He gets underneath. Everything is low, even his shoulder. I recognize that having your head snap back and taking whiplash like that isn't exactly an ideal situation for the human brain, but that is a reasonably expected hazard that can occur through the natural course of play. Having someone stop, explode up using their legs, and moving in an upward trajectory into your head is not. Some think I want to take hitting right out of the game, and that's absolutely not true. I want to see a bunch of contact like the stuff I just showed you. What I want to take out of the game are things that I'm about to show you now. Like this Orlov hit from last year's playoffs. He's completely going to miss, so he stops up and jumps. That contact can only happen at the moment where he starts to reach out. If he misses, the time is gone. He needs to time that properly, and he just possibly can't the way he's doing it. He needs to let that player go. Watch what he does. He overcommits, he overextends himself, so now he has to reach and lean, and he leans into that and creates the contact where there isn't contact there to be had. Not legal contact anyway. Same thing here, you have a Blues player, and look at that upward extension into the head. He's not in a bad position when that starts. He could just wait for that Colorado player to reach him. He doesn't have to have contact right away. He can wait for it to happen. But he wants to make it first. He reaches up. He leans into that contact. And as a result, he explodes up and hits the head. That's all on the Blues player. Look how high that Colorado player's head is. He's standing pretty much upright. There's no way that shoulder should hit that head. Easily avoidable. Watch this play by Logan Stanley. He's in front of the net fighting with another Canadiens player, and then he lunges out, drives his elbow forward and up into Corey Perry's head. Like, that's just ridiculous. And no one's skating with their arm up like that and holding their stick up like that comfortably for long periods of time. That contact has to happen at that moment or not at all. And finally, this McAvoy hit. Now, it looks innocent enough, doesn't it? But watch this. See that extension? Again, McAvoy was going to miss, so he makes a last-second adjustment, and instead of waiting for Palmieri to get to him, he leans out. Look at the angle his body is on. He makes that contact happen when he needs it to happen. He could have waited. He could have stayed low and let Palmieri skate right into him. But he wanted to reach out and initiate at a point in time where it wasn't safe to do it. There's no way that you can tell me that player in that position right there, McAvoy, can't make legal contact to the core. But he forces it early, leans out, extends, explodes, head contact. That's the kind of stuff I want to avoid. So the important takeaway from this is body position into contact. Extended, overreaching, forcing the contact at a certain point. Change of posture, overreaching, making contact happen early. Extending, overreaching, forcing contact at a certain moment in time. Now watch these legal ones. No change in body posture, glides, that could happen at any time, not even any change after impact. Watch again, glides, no change in posture, no extension, just sliding into contact. Same thing again, legal contact, no reaching, same posture, just waiting for the player to drive into them. That subtle difference is the difference between an injured player getting a concussion like this and a player who simply just gets embarrassed, gets up, and goes on his way.